NANI?!
Wait, what?!
You what?!
Let's get into the first battle as we go Staraptor. My opponent leads Gallade. Immediately they switch out and go into Tinglu. As we go for the banded Brave Bird, get that huge damage. To show Staraptor's not messing around, we go for one more Brave Bird, take out Tinglu. Up next, my opponent goes into Cinderace. Not wanting to lose Staraptor quite yet, we go into Gligar. They go for the Pyro Ball, we eat that up. The Rabbit follows that up with the U-turn and uses that to pivot into Fezandipity. Gligar then greets the bird with some spikes. Fezandipity tries to retaliate with the Poison Tail, does barely anything. As we go for the Earthquake, get that big damage. Next, the bird tries Play Rough, which we eat up no problem, as we set up Toxic Spikes. Unable to do much, they switch into Cinderace as he flashes those heavy-duty boots and tanks an Earthquake. Though able to outspeed, goes for the Court Change, puts those hazards on my side. As we go for one more Earthquake, take out Cinderace. After securing a nice lead, we see Gallade as they go for the Aqua Cutter, finally take out Gligar. Knowing we could outspeed, we go into Monkey Dory, eat up those Toxic Spikes, go for the Shadow Ball, get huge damage. Gallade just survives, goes for the Night Slash, takes out Monkey Dory with the crit. After overestimating Monkey Dory's power, we go into Chandelure, outspeed, go for the Flamethrower, take out Gallade. Up next, we see Hisui Samurott. Expecting Ceaseless Edge, we go into Breloom, which thankfully we get correct, but that sets up another layer of spikes. Breloom then fires off the priority Mark Punch. Samurott just survives, goes for the Air Slash, takes out Breloom. After overestimating Breloom's power, we go into Staraptor. As they switch back into Fezandipity, we go for the U-turn, and after taking some Rocky Helmet damage, uses the pivot back into Swampert. Fezandipity is able to outspeed, goes for the Play Rough, which we eat up no problem, retaliate with the Earthquake, take out Fezandipity. We then see Hisui Samurott again, who's able to outspeed, go for the Aqua Cutter, which we just survived with the crit, retaliate with the Earthquake, take out Samurott. My opponent's last Pokemon is the Goldango, who's able to clean up Swampert with the Shadow Ball. We go into our own Ghost Pokemon, the Chandelure, fire off the Shadow Ball, which Goldango just survives, goes for its own Shadow Ball, cleans up Chandelure. Now down to the one-on-one, we go back into Staraptor, they go for the Terra Flying, we go for the Brave Bird, clean up Goldango. Good game. Let's get into the second battle. As we go Staraptor, my opponent goes Garganacl. Right off the bat, they go for the Terra Ghost, as we go for the U-turn and use that to pivot into Swampert. The new Ghost type then sets up Stealth Rocks. With Swampert now, we follow that up with the knockoff, get some solid damage, get rid of those lefties, as they go for the Salt Cure. Over time, this Salt Cure is going to prove to be a huge problem. But before we get there, we set up our own Stealth Rocks as they go for the Recover. With the Salt stack now at full health, we're going to have a lot of trouble. As we go for the Earthquake, do barely anything. They go for the Salt Cure, get a little more chip damage. With the Salt Cure slowly chipping away at Swampert, we go for the Liquidation, still unable to do anything. They go for one more Salt Cure, keep getting that chip. With Swampert dangerously low, we fire off one more Liquidation, but it's not enough, as we eventually fall to the Salt. If you're enjoying the video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. After going down 1-0, we go into Monkey Dory as they switch into Sableye. Monkey Dory fires off a Shadow Ball, gets some huge damage and the Toxic. Expecting a priority Thunder Wave, we go into Gligar, as Sableye fires off a Disable and does nothing. Sableye is then able to go for the priority Taunt, stuffing our own Taunt attempt. Luckily for us, this forces Gligar to go for the Earthquake as they go into Toxic Pex, take some rock damage, and take some solid damage from the Earthquake. Unfortunately though, I don't think Gligar has enough power, so we go back into Monkey Dory as he goes for the Baneful Bunker. The plan is to go for those big spec Psychics. Unfortunately, they go back into Sableye, who eats that up no problem, but is getting dangerously low to the Toxic. Locked into Psychic, we switch into Gligar, as Sableye goes for the Encore, doing nothing. With that last little bit of HP, Sableye goes for the Will-O-Wisp Burning Gligar. As we go for the Earthquake, take out Sableye. With the match now tied up, we see Big Gligar come in. Right away goes for the Protect to get that Toxic Orb, as our taunt does nothing. After setting up the Toxic, Gliscor gets out and goes into Corviknight, as we're finally able to connect with the taunt. Gligar is completely walled by Corviknight, so we switch into Chandelure, who's forced to tank a Brave Bird upon arrival. Expecting the fire move, Corviknight switches into Toxic Pex, as Chandelure fires off a Flamethrower. It does barely anything. Now locked into Flamethrower, we switch back into Monkey Dory, as Toxapex sets up some Toxic Spikes. After setting up the Toxic Spikes, we see the Baneful Bunker, which makes my Shadow Ball do nothing. And after seeing that I'm locked into Shadow Ball, he switches into Chansey, who eats up my Shadow Ball, no problem. Unable to do anything, we switch into Gligar, as Chansey fires off the T-Wave, unable to do anything. Expecting to switch into Corviknight, we change up our strategy a little bit as we get the prediction correct, set up some spikes. Now expecting the Roost, we go for the Taunt, which thankfully we get correct, preventing any healing. Despite this, Gligar can't do too much, so we set up some more spikes, tank a Brave Bird, and wait for the next turn to set up some more spikes, and then eventually go down to the Body Press. After losing Gligar, the taunt goes away and we switch into Monkey Dory. This scares off Corviknight as they go right back into Chansey. After taking all that hazard damage, eats up the Psychic with no issue. With the special defense lower, we try to go for the KO. Unfortunately, don't get it, but we secure the Toxic as they paralyze us with T-Wave. Still able to outspeed, we go for the Psychic, take out Chansey. Next up, we see Corviknight again. We decide to stay and fire off another Psychic. Corviknight just holds on, goes for the Defog, gets rid of all those hazards, which allows us to go for one more Psychic, cleaning up Corviknight. 31 turns in, we see the Ghost Garganacl, who's forced to take huge damage from the Psychic and retaliate with the Salt Cure. Now trying to stall out Monkey Dory, we see the Protect, which makes our Psychic do nothing as we keep taking damage from the Salt. Garganacl goes for the double Protect, which fails, but unfortunately we get the full Para Hacks and then go down to the Salt Cure. This allows us to go into Breloom. As Garganacl goes for another Protect, we start dancing with the swords, get those boost, fire off the Rock Tomb, take out Garganacl. We then see Gliscor come back in, and thanks to our aggressive boosting last turn, we go for the Bullet Seed, take out Gliscor. My opponent's last Pokemon is a Toxapex, but then they forfeit. Good game. Let's get into the last battle as we go Gligar, they start Tinglu. Right off the rip, we go for the Taunt, denying those Stealth Rocks. Now Tinglu doesn't want to stick around as they switch into Iron Valiant and get that Quark Drive boost as we set up Toxic Spikes. Iron Valiant enjoys those Toxic Spikes, so they go for the Encore as we put up another layer. With hazards secure, we then go into Swampert as they go for the knockoff and toss our lefties. Iron Valiant doesn't want to mess with Swampert though, so they switch into Tinglu, get hit by those Toxic Spikes as we go for the Liquidation, get some solid damage. Expecting another water move, Tinglu goes for the Terra Water as it tanks our Liquidation no problem, and then uses the opportunity to set up some Stealth Rocks. On the next turn we switch things up, go for the knockoff, get rid of the lefties as they go for the Whirlwind, phasing us into Breloom. With the low health Tinglu and Breloom now in, we go for the Bullet Seed, take out Tinglu. Up next we see Great Tusk, who's able to outspeed, go for the knockoff, get rid of our loaded dice. We still fire off the Bullet Seed, thankfully get all 5 hits, which allows us to take out Great Tusk. My opponent then forfeits. Good game. And that's the video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for future content.